What is up YouTube, JAC Games here, and welcome back to Exploring OMORI Mysteries. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about, was Basil ever okay? Because after the truth we can see quite clearly he's not okay. Actually, like, no one's ever really okay after the truth. But what about before the truth? Alright, so first thing we're gonna talk about is Basil's personality, because okay, so we see in the game Basil is like implied to be like shy and socially anxious and like insecure, right? We see like a lot of like, especially after the truth, we see like this pretty much emphasized after the truth. That these are definitely traits he has, like you see through the dialogue and everything. And even it's like somewhat in his headspace, you can see he's always been like this shy and like insecure type boy, like based on, I guess, Sunny's perspective and headspace, like based on what we know from basically from when Sunny's met him, he's always been like this, is what I'm trying to say. And to add on to this is like he's always had a fear of like burdening others, right? Like I think you saw in the truth, he's always, or I don't know when it was, but he was like to Sunny, he's like, he gave the photo album to him because he wanted to like help him, but in the end he just ended up burdening him more. So he's always had this fear of burdening others, right? At least ever since Sunny's known him. That's like kind of pretty much like are gonna be our base, because like Sunny's only known him for so many years, so we don't know his entire life, but we know him since, like, you know, since they've met. And well, he's always been like, I guess, shy, insecure, and he has this fear of burdening others. And what else does he have? Alright, final thing I'm gonna add on to his personality, I guess, from what we've seen, is that he's very sensitive. Like, actually, like, we see it a lot. He's, at least like after the truth, we see a lot of his sensitivity, like from Aubrey's bullying and from Sunny's leaving. He gets like very emotional very easily, so he's very sensitive. So that pretty much covers like his personality, which we can see there's a lot of flaws to it. I guess he's not, I guess, mentally he's not the most mentally stable person, right? He has a lot of flaws, alright? And now let's move on to the next topic. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about is Basil's like strong emotional attachment to external things, I guess, because we see he values things like a lot, like the photo album. He values it a lot, so it means a lot to him. And he has a bunch of items that, like, his plants mean a lot to him. And I think he even says in the game, he's like, I would never throw anything away because everything has meaning to me and stuff. So basically, he has a lot of emotional attachment to external things. Like, you would probably have a lot of attachment to this PS5 controller, but he has a lot. He's attached to a lot of external things, right? Also, his friends, he's like attached to, like, especially Sunny. Like, that's why the truth happened, because he was attached to them. But he basically cares about like a whole bunch of his friends. You know, all of his friends. He cares a lot about them. He's very attached to them, and he's very attached to non-living things like the PS5 controller, which is down now, but I'm not gonna show it again. But he's very attached to these things. So what is the problem with basically being emotionally attached to all these things? Which is basically, here's what my perspective is. All right, so he's attached to a whole bunch of these things, right? To his friends and a whole bunch of random items, I guess, that mean a lot to him. The problem with this, at least the way that I see it, is that once they get taken away, he's gonna be hurt, right? He's gonna be like, oh no, I lost this and now I'm hurt. Especially if he loses a friend, he's like, why did I lose this friend? Did they stop caring for me? Did I not try hard enough or something? It's gonna hurt a lot to let go of all these things he's attached to. And another thing is that he's basically, a lot of his happiness is attached to these things, right? So like his friends, right? Since he's a whole bunch attached to them, he's like, a lot of his happiness is gonna come from like making them happy, and like I don't know, yeah, I guess something like making them happy, right? Seeing them do good. And yeah, and if he fails to do that, he's gonna feel bad about himself. He's like, am I not good enough? Because I can't make them feel good enough. And it's basically bad, right? His emotions depend a lot on external things and not in like his internal things. Is like he doesn't really care about them. He just attaches them all to external things, like this PS5 controller. I know I said I wasn't gonna show it again, but there it is. It's a good example. But that's what I'm trying to say is, He's putting too much. He's putting too much of his emotions. He's attaching them too much to external things, and he's not caring enough about his internal things. Is what I'm saying. Okay, moving on. Well, I don't know if this is moving on or it kind of adds on to what I was just saying about his attachment. But one thing we see about Basil is he does not like change in his life. All right, especially like when he learned that Sunny was moving away, he was like he locked himself in the bathroom, right? And he had like I don't know if like it was like a mental breakdown or something, but he reacted very badly to it. Like his life was changing, right? And let me think of another example. Another example. Another example. Okay, another example. Another example is probably like his grandmother, right? So like once his grandmother started getting bad and everything, he kind of started he started getting bad himself, which I guess is once again the emotional attachment to external things. But also like he just doesn't like change is what I'm trying to establish. And yeah, I guess this kind of more adds on to the last thing, right? He likes his life, right? And once it changes, he starts to panic. He's like, I don't want this to change. I want it to stay the same. Okay, now that I realize it, he likes things to stay the same because that's what he feels comforts. He feels comfort, right? And then once things get out of his comfort zone, he's like, I don't like this. Please do not change. Stop changing. And if it keeps changing, he like breaks down and starts crying, I guess. But basically, he does not like change, and I guess it kind of ties into the second one, but doesn't completely add on to it. So it's his own section. But there you go. Basil does not like change in his life. All right, next is Basil's parents. Why can't the parents in Omori ever be good? But okay, so Basil, I don't know where his parents are at. Okay, I don't know where they're at. We don't ever say anything. All we know is that the parents like barely see him or don't see him at all, and his grandma is actually the one that's in charge of taking care of him. And then the grandma gets in bad health, so then Polly takes over. So okay, so now that I think about it, the parents never actually came into. I wonder if the parents actually ever came in to check on Basil, because like the grandma was in bad health, and then they just called in Polly. They're like, okay, you take over. Basil's like, but where are my parents? They're like, I guess they don't care. But basically, Basil's parents did not take care of him, so he only had his grandmother. And well, hopefully the grandmother was like a good caretaker. But obviously, like without his parents, his emotional development may not be as good because he only has one grandmother taking care of him. And the parents are still being bad. Dude, parents in Omori, I swear, they keep leaving. There's like either A, they're all in a tree gang, like I said before, or they're all at the store getting milk, right? It must be a very long line for milk, but they keep leaving, and I am frustrated at them now. Okay, final thing I'm gonna add on before the truth happens is, well, technically this happens after we see this after the truth. Now that I think about it, but basically Aubrey was the one that introduced Basil to the friend group, right? Basil didn't meet them; he had to be introduced. Which, number one, adds to like him being shy and socially anxious, like I said earlier, and also it might have shown like maybe Basil just like never actually really had that many friends, right? Or none at all, to but that basically he might have like not had any friends at all, so he must have been like sad, and then Aubrey introduced him, then I guess he got happier, and yeah, that's probably why I got emotionally attached to him. But basically the main point I'm trying to make is Basil might have not had that many friends until Aubrey came in and introduced them to Sunny and Kel and Hero and Marie and Aubrey and Basil, everyone. What? Okay, moving on. And now what we've all been waiting for, the truth, which like comes up in like every video, but it's such a big point of the game. But anyway, the truth happens, right? We everyone knows what the truth. I've gone over it so many times. If you're watching this video, you probably know what happens, but the truth happens. And then once Sunny pushes Marie down the stairs, Basil proposes the idea of faking it as a suicide and hanging Marie with a jump rope, which is where I come in. When I ask the question, how did Basil know about this at this age? Because they're like 12 or like 11, right? And then at 12 or 11, Basil not only knows about hangings, but he also knows about suicides and faking a suicide with hangings. Like, he's 12 or 11, I don't know, 12 or 11, but he's this little. He's like in fifth or sixth grade, right? In America, if you're, but I don't know what grade he would be in another country. Like,
why are we still here?
Okay, if I missed, I don't know what happened with my vocabulary, but he's like in fifth and sixth grade, right? He's like 11 or 12. He's super young, and he somehow knows about suicides and faking suicides and hangings. Like, I don't know how he knows this. This is like quite clearly he knew about this for a reason, which is like he was definitely not okay. Like, maybe, all right, this is far-fetched. This is far-fetched. What I just thought of now, but maybe before he met the group, he was planning on, you know, doing it to himself. Okay, that I'm going too far. But you know, it's messed up to know about this kind of stuff at this young of age. Is what I'm trying to say. And quite clearly, Basil had to have known about it for a reason. So it's messed up. Yeah, he was not okay. That's basically what I'm trying to say. He was not okay. And then, of course, after the truth, obviously, you know, it messed him up even more mentally. Because, like, that's such a messed up situation that no one would come out okay. And it would traumatize him more, and it made his mental state worse. I mean, yeah, the truth was always going to do that. So, basically, in conclusion, what I'm going to conclude and theorize is that Basil was never really okay. At least from ever since Sonny met him and stuff, he was never really okay. He's always had his problems, right? Because, like, especially because, like, his parents left him at an early age and stuff. And, you know, he never really had, like, a proper emotional development, and that caused him a lot of problems. And that's might be the reason why, you know, he knew about, you know, hanging and stuff when the truth happened. So basically, this man was never okay, and he's been through a lot of stuff mentally, is what I'm trying to say. Even if he's only 16, he's quite clearly suffered a lot mentally. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for this video. Poor Basil. But that's all I have for you this week. And I don't know, like, you guys want to see the PS5 controller again? Okay, I don't know. I'll see you guys next week.